Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for June 8, 2022 to order. The time is now 7:01. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item C is our roll call of council members. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beaton.
Here.
Councilmember Brocksmith.
Here.
Councilmember Carres.
Here.
Councilmember Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Holst.
Is excused this evening.
Councilmember Molinar.
Here.
And Councilmember Morales.
Here.
Thank you. Item under 2 is our community comments tonight. Item 1 is the review of emails from the public. And just a change for council that we might be making. We do know that folks email the council email at that address, but may not necessarily think that it's public comment. And so we're gonna come up with a new address and publish it on our agendas for council comment. And that way we know that there's a difference that is intended to be for a public comment reading. And that way we know for sure. So we'll be doing that in the next council meeting.
Was there a complaint?
No, but we just kind of thought the council gets different things that may or may not, people might not want to be read out loud. And so that way we can ensure that it was intended to be a public comment. So, okay. So first up, Peter Donovan has some emails, I believe, to read until we sort it out for sure.
That's right. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. You have 3 emails this meeting from the public. The first one is, there's no name attached to the first one. I just have an email address. And this person writes, I am writing this email as I feel the way the billing and removing of the 20-gallon inserts in the trash cans is totally wrong. I am a senior on a fixed income, but do not qualify for a low-income discount. I was told the rates would go up on 6/1/22. Today is 6/3, and I still have the insert. I called the city trash people, and they told me this wouldn't be prorated and that those inserts would be removed during the month and that the city council made this decision. I am paying for what I cannot use. I want the council to correct this problem for at least for this week or whenever the insert is removed. I only have a 20-gallon capacity and paying for 35-gallon capacity. Totally not right. My next trash pickup is June 10th. Please advise how this situation will be resolved. The next email is from Rachel Beto. To whom it may concern, I am not happy one bit about the trash bill increase. We have such a little amount of trash each week. We don't need our trash can to be bigger. We try our hardest to have a small amount each week. We compost and we recycle. Our trash might weigh 5 pounds, sometimes 10, but no more each week. Not only do we not need our trash can to be bigger, but we never asked for it to be bigger. I know there's not a damn thing we can do to fight this, but I just wanted to voice my anger with your decision. Rachel. And finally, from Sharon and Craig Russo. Hi, I'm writing in regards to the cart conversion. I see again we have no choice in this conversion and cost, but I also see that this new pricing starts on June 1st and my cart is still at the 20 gallons, so I am paying for something I do not have. We are being forced to change even though we do not need this. Unfortunately, the standards to qualify for low-income benefits in your city is at poverty levels that most seniors just miss. So all the seniors who decided to live in your city, who have decided to live in your city, you have made it harder for them to sustain a decent life. You should all be ashamed of yourself. God bless, Sharon and Craig.
All right. And then we'll go on to public comments, but I don't see anyone here. Is there any staff that would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, we'll close that. I wanted to offer some information regarding our solid waste. You know, as much as information as we try and put out as a city, it's just hard to reach everyone in certain ways. And also communicating after a rate study is also probably a little frustrating for folks, which I think we all recognize. But I want to make a few points. So regarding the 20-gallon conversion and being billed, we've recognized that our staff were having a bit of a struggle getting to all of our 9,000 customers and making sure and looking to make sure if we had to convert their can or not. Even though we do have lists, it's it's a big job. So we're delaying that until their August invoice will be when they will see it, and by then we will have the conversions done. So we definitely apologize for not getting that as timely as we thought, but we're taking care of that issue. The other thing to really point out is the rate study allowed the city to assess the costs. And so when we have some folks paying a rate that doesn't even cover their cost of service, I'm sure they wouldn't want their neighbors to be paying their bills for them. And so when we equal that out, we realized that the 20-gallon customers and the 35-gallon customers, it costs the same to provide that service. And so when the council passed the new rate study, it seemed the most equitable and fair way to charge for service and not have other neighbors paying for other neighbors' services. And so also, you know, we felt as well that if you have a 20 or a 35-gallon, you would want to have a 35-gallon capacity, whether you use it or not. And the government certainly doesn't tell you how much garbage to produce, but we felt it was fair all the way around. So if there's any questions on that, please feel free to give the city a call. We'll do our best to provide information, knowing that some people just aren't gonna want to pay more, and we understand that. But when they weren't paying for enough to cover their service in the first place, we felt we needed to do something. So, all right, under our consent agenda, we have items A, B, C, and D.
I'll move for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Under committee reports, first up is our Public Works and Library Committee report, and this is Councilmember Gary Molinar. Gary.
Okay, we opened up the Public Works and Library Committee tonight at 6:02. First, we were briefed, the committee was briefed on tonight's council agenda items as follows: Maddox Creek Restoration Project Interlocal Agreement with Skagit County and the Solid Waste Rate Ordinance Update. Next, Blaine Chesterfield gave the update on Stormwater Municipal Code 13-33. These codes need to be revised in order to comply with the Stormwater Municipal Permit. Changes will be presented to council for action on Wednesday, June 22nd of 22. There's also cleaning of Colshan Creek Channel just upstream and downstream of College Way near Buckway. It is anticipated that will be done during the dry season later this summer. And then we had Bill Bullock give us project updates. The design of the 22 Street Improvements Project is progressing towards final design, and bid-ready documents will be target bid date of July 11th. Paving is anticipated for August and September. The project list includes 18th Street, College Way to Fur, East Division Street, 150 west of Cedarwood to Big Lake Road, Anderson Road, Old 99 to an I-5 bridge, and the 35th Street neighborhood. The north side of Freeway Drive Improvements Project has been paved, and the south side will be paved during the next available weather window. Final cleanup and restoration will occur within 30 days after the final project paving is completed. There was also a request made to repair a severely damaged sidewalk on the east side of Cleveland Street, just north of Blackburn Road. The city awarded the repair bid to Schwetz Construction as a low bidder through the small works process. Repairs are expected to be completed in July. Next, our librarian Isaac Huffman gave us philanthropy and advocacy efforts and were spotted for the Mount Vernon Commons project. He also gave a brief overview of some of the general projects over the past couple months, including upcoming summer reading programs and mini art show. Also told us about an Eagle Scout, Hunter Byland, who did a book sale at the library during the street fair, and with the money was able to purchase coding robots and virtual reality headsets. Then Jill gave us Mayor Boudreau gave us some updates on grant progress for our Library Commons project, and also an update on applications for Developmental Service Director and filling other positions. And we close the meeting at 6:58.
Right, thank you so much. Report for public safety will be rescheduled due to Councilmember Holst's absence, so if the clerk could make a note to have that on the next agenda, that'd be great, thank you. All right, item B is any council member comments. Any council member comments? Iris, go ahead.
I would like to congratulate our students graduation tonight, graduation 2021, 2022. This is the first time in my time working for the school district I'm not going to be able to celebrate with them, and because we didn't have enough space here to celebrate the event, and it took place in Everett. And but even though I am trying to be by them in spirit, and I am so happy to see many of our family students getting graduating tonight. Congratulations, students. Congratulations, families. And we are so proud to Mount Vernon High School staff and teachers and counselors for the great job you've been doing with our students. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other council member comments tonight?
And we had a great parade today downtown Mount Vernon.
Yes.
It's always fun.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to mayor's report. If someone could help with my slides, that'd be great. We wanted to highlight a Twitter campaign, social media campaign to draw awareness to our Mount Vernon Library Commons project. And so we're just asking our community if they would help us out if they happen to use social media. If they have Twitter or Instagram, if you go on our city website, you can call the mayor's office to get that information. But we're looking for likes. We're looking for people to follow us and share all of our posts. The post pictured here is thanking our senators, Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell, for their support. And we're taking pictures with our community members. So if you'd like to take a picture and have it as a post, give us a call and let us know. COVID is definitely still here, whether we are thinking about it or not. Right now, Skagit County is a CDC transmission level of high. We're certainly seeing a lot more folks that are out sick and recovering, thankfully not as serious as it had been, of course, a couple of years ago. Our 7-day case rate has increased by 3% since last week, and our hospitalization rate here in Skagit County has increased by 15%. We've actually had one new COVID-related death reported in Skagit County, and so we want folks to just be aware of that. You can get your vaccine at the public health office. Information on the next slide here is down at the public health office in downtown Mount Vernon, Wednesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Vaccinations are available and boosters as well. There are groups of us that qualify for a second booster shot, so encouraging folks to get that. You can certainly call the county at 360-416-1500 if you need more information about that, but please continue to be vigilant to take care of yourself. And thank you, Councilmember Carias, for bringing up the graduates and our other council members at the parade. Picture taken, and congratulating, of course, all of our students and wishing them well as they take their next step into the world. So. All right. Item D is our committee agenda requests. Any committee agenda requests from council? Councilmember Morales.
Thank you. So this is still pretty fresh, but I was wondering to see if we could explore in terms of with either graffiti removal on that topic. The reason why I mentioned that was because this week I was traversing through the Colshan trail, and I noticed on the pavement that there was, sorts of gang-related graffiti on there. Hate symbols like the swastika on the ground, and other sexual content symbols on the pavement. And just wanted to know more about that. Maybe if you could make it onto a committee, and just learn a little bit more to see if in terms of the removal process for that. That way it doesn't stay out there too long. I think that'll be good for the public.
Okay. Absolutely. We'd love to be able to share.
Thank you.
Both police and parks coordinate on combating that as well, so thank
Thanks.
you. Okay, moving on, there is no unfinished business. Under new business, tonight, item A was to be a Mount Vernon Downtown Association update. Unfortunately, Ellen Gampson couldn't be with us tonight, so we will be rescheduling that for June 22nd. And I think we may need to be Robert's Rules of Order. I think we might need a motion to table that or reschedule, or do we need that?
I'm happy
Mark's
to
not
make
here
a
to help us,
motion.
but why don't we do it anyway? So.
I'm happy to make a motion to continue that until Ellen is available.
All right, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Juan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Item B is the approval of an agreement with Skagit County. And this is Blaine Chesterfield is going to present this item. Blaine.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is an agreement with Skagit County for vegetation maintenance on Maddox Creek. Staff recommends the council authorize the mayor to sign an interlocal cooperative agreement with Skagit County, which allows for the vegetation maintenance of the Maddox Creek Restoration Project. The city's contribution of funds will be in the amount of $5,000. The culvert removal was completed in 2020 and opened up 2+ miles of fish habitat. There is an ecology requirement for 10 years of maintenance with an 80% survival rate for the vegetation planted along the creek. Maintenance will be ongoing for 8 more years until we've determined that we've accomplished that goal. And staff recommends that the City Council approve the interlocal cooperative agreement with Skagit County.
All right, questions for Blaine on this item?
It's a great project, and I'd move to approve the interlocal cooperative agreement with Skagit County.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gary and a second by Juan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Blaine.
you.
Item C is the approval of a redistricting plan, and Peter Donovan, our Special Projects Manager, is here for this item. Peter.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, I feel like we've talked a lot about redistricting and that you're well aware of the process, how it works, all of that. If folks are watching and wondering about it themselves and haven't been a part of that process, there's a video presentation. If you go to the city's website, to the city's video center, you can watch the May 25th council meeting and you can find that presentation there. Or if you don't have that kind of time, I can hit the highlights for you right now. Every 10 years, the census happens. We get a count, we get a population change in the city, and the city has to reassess its voting districts, our wards. So the 3 wards are assessed, and we want to make sure that those wards are about equal in population. So with the changes in population, obviously there's got to be a subsequent change in the wards to ensure that they're close to the same size, the same population. So the city contracted with a renowned demographer to determine an effective approach and a practical plan for rebalancing those districts. The city's demographer recommended a pretty simple plan that transferred a section of Ward 3 into Ward 2. And that draft plan for redistricting was presented to council first on May 11th. Public hearing date and comment period was announced on May 12th. A public hearing was held during a May 25th city council meeting, and we received no written or verbal comments on this redistricting plan. So tonight, to accept the proposed plan and to rebalance the city's voting districts, staff is recommending a council ordinance at number 3850 to amend the city's municipal code, chapter 1.2, setting forth the revised designation of city council ward boundaries.
All right, questions for Peter on this particular item?
Yeah, I think I have 1 or 2, if I may.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So the proposal looks pretty straightforward in terms of straight lines and then moving some neighborhoods from Ward 3 to Ward 2, right?
Correct.
Excellent. But one of the things that I was pondering with, and this didn't occur to me the moment that we had Dr. Morrison present, was on the term dilution. And what I mean by that was, so from what I understand, potential dilution could occur if a voting minority group is moved from one boundary to another, right? But what I was pondering about was if the inverse was also true, that if it's a non-minority group and still moved from one boundary to another, would that also be cause for dilution? It's just sort of like in a scientific way, if you have like, say, sugar water, if you add more water, it dilutes it, right? Because there's less, or there's the concentration of sugar particles is less, or sugar molecules. But I'm wondering if it would also be true if the exact opposite would happen, that if you remove some of those sugar molecules with water in there, does dilution still occur? And that's what I haven't been able to figure out. And I didn't have the opportunity to ask that to Dr. Morrison a few weeks ago when he was present, remotely.
So as you recall, in 2018, and you were part of the committee that took a look at, the city took a look at all of our wards, and that, just what you're talking about, the possibility for that vote dilution. And the city stepped out in front of a lot of cities in the state in doing that and took a proactive approach to it. That was to ensure that there was no way that the city could form a minority district. And it was decided at that time with outside counsel and with the demographer that we could not, and that we were in compliance with the Washington State Voting Rights Act. Whether we continue to be after this change, we'll have to take a look at that again, and that's something we would always continually look at, but we are required to stay in compliance with that act. Mr. Rogerson, I would ask, is there anything beyond what we've done at this point that's necessary for us to be in compliance?
Well, you have two bodies of law. One is after a census, you got to look at the population, and you got to balance out within a margin, as your demographer said. That's what this does. That's a separate chapter than the Washington State Voters' Rights Act that deals with dilution, which we addressed in 2018. And you can always address that at any time. You can always look at that. Look at the significant minority populations as they constitute your wards, and see whether or not you feel that it's a dilution issue. Federally, a dilution issue is when you can't, if you could create a majority-minority ward, and you don't. The standard in Washington's a little different, but you always have the opportunity to do that whenever you want, if you feel that that's necessary to do. There's a process to do it, just like we did in 2018, public process. Provide notice, this is what we're doing. You can take a look at it and see if you want to make any changes. Certainly can do so.
In that process, you might recall, we got down to the block level of the census data and looked at demographics. And I think a few years after the census is when that block data is available. So that might be the time to look at it, but yeah,
Okay.
it's a good thing to be aware of for sure.
No, it is, and thank you. And just to make sure that I'm understanding, we're really talking about two different topics then, right? I mean, one of them is the readjustment after you have new census data, and the other one would be on the Washington Voting Rights Act of 2018 then.
Yeah, the two address two different things you need to comply with in your law. One is after a census, make sure your wards are equitably arranged population according to the margins, and you're forced to do that. It's a mandate, and it is a mandate to make sure you comply with the Voting Rights Act. But that's where you're looking at, as Mr. Donovan said, issues like dilution, majority-minority wards, fair representation historically on governing boards such as these. You don't have to do them at the same time, but you do have to do them. That's for sure. And you want to have good data to look at when you look at dilution, certainly.
Okay, I appreciate the conversation. That's very enlightening. I had those questions in mind, so thank you. Thank you both.
Anything else? Okay, other questions about this? All right, we have, Peter, thank you for the details of the work that's been done before tonight. If council chooses to adopt, this would be an ordinance. It would be ordinance 3850.
I'd motion for the adoption of ordinance 3850.
Thank you. Second. Right, motion by Juan, second by Melissa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for all the work on that as well. All right, item D is an item that is entitled Consideration of Real Property Donation. However, in committee, we were asked to perhaps postpone this, so we'd be happy to put it on a committee agenda next week, if that's okay. And maybe we could have a motion to do that in that way.
I'll make a motion to postpone into the following, is it week?
We
2
do
weeks?
committee for next week. Yeah.
Next week, into next week.
Okay, thank you, Anna.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Melissa. Motion by Juan, second by Melissa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. All right, item E is a solid waste rate study update, and this is Director Chris Phillips is gonna present this.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. During committee this evening, we discussed the ordinance to change the solid waste services rates. And this is due to the 20-gallon insert removal process that we're doing. At the current time, we're about 50% of the way through. So we've removed 900, and Andy Hansen, our solid waste division lead, let me know we got about another 900 to go. So 1 week, 900. We're looking good there. However, it came to our attention that we should get in alignment with the current regulations. So we briefed the mayor on this and asked for your approval or adoption of the attached amendment for section 812.120. This is to revise the garbage rates to effective of July 1 for seniors for the inserts. And the second part of this is dealing with the temporary container fees. And that would be something that we had erroneous information from Chris Bell. He updated this about a week and a half ago, and then I brought that to your attention just to make sure that we have the right or the correct rates included in here. So there's two things that we're looking for. One would be the delay until July 1st, and the other is the temporary change to the temporary solid waste rates. And with that, staff recommends that council adopt the ordinance revising the solid waste service rate study to be effective, and that should read July 1, 2022.
Okay, questions for Chris on this?
Just to make sure that July 1's enough time to finish it so we don't come back.
Absolutely. So I'll provide weekly updates to council off of an email that was sent by Mr. Donovan, just to give you the progress as we're going through. If a change is going to be required, Councilmember Brocksmith, you'll know probably 2 weeks prior to us doing that. So I'll make that recommendation via email and through the mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, this correction is fair, and I would motion to adopt the ordinance.
Okay,
Second?
right, motion by Juan to adopt ordinance 3851, and a second by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Item F is the approval of an agreement. This is Mount Vernon Fire Station 3 renovation. Fire Chief Brian Bryce is here for this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you, I have a recommendation to award a contract for professional services with Trico for the construction renovation of Fire Station 3. Kind of going back through the process, taking us all the way back to 2018, we began a process of a needs assessment, looking at our facilities for fire stations. A couple things were identified in that process. One, our Fire Station 1, which is our oldest fire station, built in 1964, needs to be completely rebuilt to be the right size, the right construction, the right fit for the city. Along those lines, we also looked at Fire Stations 2 and 3 to make sure that they were right sized, right components and everything in there. And we found some structural pieces that needed to be addressed. We also found some other compartmenting pieces that needed to be fixed as well, i.e. the sizes of some of our offices, spacing for our firefighters, capacity up at Fire Station 3 for additional apparatus space in that study. With that, we went through the process. We had a little slight delay in that process due to a little pandemic that kind of slowed us down slightly, but we're back at full speed now. And through that, what we've been doing through our architect, Mackenzie, is designing and engineering. That has been completed. We're in the permitting piece, finishing that piece up. And then we did a construction bid through the month of May, where we had 3 bidders that competed for that through an open process. To note, while we had 3 bidders that submitted, there was also 25 construction firms or folks that looked at our bid documents, downloaded them from our site, so it was open to a large population in a fair, competitive process. We had 3 bids, as I had said. They range from $4,317,184 to $4,959,835.05. I love the 5 cents part of that. Again, that was the range, and if you look at that range, it is not too far off, and even our mid-bid came in a mere $20,000 over what our low bid was. So again, what that's showing is that the documents, the information those bidders had was clear and concise. We weren't far off by millions of dollars from our bottom to our top, so they're all within that range there. We had a review of those documents to make sure that their lowest bidder was responsive. Our architect, along with KBA, our construction management firm, looked through those pieces and did confirm that, yes, they are responsive bidders with that. So tonight I have before you the recommendation to authorize the mayor to execute that contract with TRICO. From our last council meeting, or our last Public Safety Committee meeting, there was a couple questions with regard to funding for this, and this funding is going to come through a councilmatic bond process that will come before the council. I had attached with the memo an outline of some of that timeline, and so I just want to kind of just go back over that just very quickly. Even though this is about the construction contract, I just wanted to make sure that the council was clear that the bonding process is separate from that. We've come to the point to where we've agreed that that's how we're going to go about the funding mechanism. Now the exact amount, whether we bond both or separate, that is a separate dialogue. However, it is staff's recommendation that we bond both fire stations 2 and 3 at the same time. That's with consultation with our budget director, Mr. Valesky over there, along with the bond council, about the best way to do that process for cost efficiency with that process. And while we only have the current bid for Fire Station 3, our estimate that we had from our firm was only off slightly, and I say that and not in a jest and to make light of the fact that it was over the budgeted amount, but when you take the economies and scale from October of 2021 to now in 2022, when gas has gone from $3 and something a gallon up to $6 a gallon, we can see that that $300,000 isn't maybe that huge amount that would be detrimental to us. So looking forward, our estimators have put in projections for that second station, which they knew was even further off. So they put in escalations for that. They built those things into their estimates to begin with. If we find that our bond for our recommendation of $12 million is not going to be sufficient, we still have other funding mechanisms that could be done. That would be through our ER&R fund, our 306 fund, which is funded through main funding of our GEMT, along with our contract with Fire District 1 to do that. So again, should we get to that point to where we find that economic pieces within the global economy have caused that to be further than we want, we do have other ways to overcome that potential shortfall. We also have the opposite, where it could come in better because of pieces. That being said, we all know how life works, and sometimes that doesn't always happen. But we all feel comfortable with that number. Again, those are all pieces that in that timeline show you when we will come back to council, have those further dialogues, and get other directions should council decide for that. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions I can with regard to the contract for TRICO for the construction renovation of Fire Station 3.
All right, questions for Chief Price on this?
Yeah, I don't have any particular questions. I just would like to say, as I have a smile on my face, the city has done its due diligence with this. You know, we have planned for future growth. We have planned for energy efficiency. It's a critical need. I'm excited that local tax dollars are not servicing the bond. It's the GEMT revenue that will be servicing that bond. And so with that, I'd like to make a motion that council authorize the mayor to adopt the professional services agreement with TRICO.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Mary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council. Thank you, Chief, for getting us this far. We're excited to put some shovels in the ground. So. All right, item G tonight is the approval of an agreement with the Mount Vernon IAFF Battalion Chief Collective Bargaining Unit. So, and our Human Resources Manager Director, Erin Cater's here, sorry.
Good evening. So I'm here regarding the IFFBC collective bargaining agreement. It expired at the end of last year. This is a bargaining unit that is comprised of 4 individuals. We came to resolution and we agreed to a 3-year contract, so 2022 through 2024. The contract, the firefighter contract and the firefighter BC contract already has language in there that provides for a differential between the firefighter wage and the BC wage. So through the contract negotiations, we just increased that differential from 37% to 39%. We removed the education incentive, which offset the increase in the differential. We agreed to pay 100% of the premiums for the employee medical, and that's in alignment with our comparables. And then we increased the deferred compensation. And all of this adds up to approximately $9,700 for the remainder of the year. And so with that, I'm here to ask that you authorize the mayor to sign the collective bargaining agreement with IAFF for the BCs.
Questions for Erin on this?
Hearing none, I would motion for council to authorize the mayor to sign the IAFF Battalion Chief Collective Bargaining Agreement for January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024.
All right, thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, motion by Juan and a second by Melissa. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Thank you. We've completed our agenda items for this evening. I'll ask our city attorney if there is a need for an executive session tonight.
Yes, invite the city council to meet in executive session for a period of 15 minutes to discuss with legal counsel matters relating to enforcement action, litigation, or potential litigation to which the city, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding such discussion is likely to result in either adverse legal or adverse financial consequence to the city pursuant to RCW 4230, subsection 110(1)(I). Again, 15 minutes, no final action after.
All right, thank you. Then we'll be adjourned into executive session at 7:39.